Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Bowmaster619 here. It is currently 9:35 here in colorful Colorado, and after the day I've had, I think I could use a drink. So today, what we have to try is Pike Creek, crafted with 10-year-old whiskey finished in rum barrels. It's a Canadian whiskey. It is 42% alcohol by volume, making it 84 proof. Hello, Zomblue. Nice to see you here. And it says right here on the bottle, rum barrel finished. 10-year-old select oak-aged Canadian whiskey that has been finished in rum barrels to condition and mellow the whiskey, while imparting subtle notes of brown sugar and vanilla for an incomparably smooth finish. Daddy Daughter Broadcasting, very nice to see you here. Am I quiet? I don't mean to be. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So, let's go ahead and crack this open and take a look. Now, I will say that in the past, I have tried a few Canadian whiskeys, and personally, I've not been too much of a fan of them. Loud and clear. Oh, that's cute. There's a little barrel on the top of the plastic. Alright, so, as per usual, that smells quite good. I can definitely, of course, smell the caramel since it is a bourbon. I can smell a mild hint of brown sugar, actually. Now, tonight, instead of a shot glass, I figured, why not go ahead and do it a little bit more classy. Stay put, bottle. Let's see. Tasting vocabulary. Thank you. Oh, yeah, you can really get a much better smell out of it this way. You can definitely detect hints of brown sugar in there. Smell a hint of spice. I'm not sure what kind, but it definitely has a little bit of spicy. Trying to get to bed, but I am getting all these notifications of awesome people live streaming. And now I'm getting thirsty. Alright, so here we go for the taste. Interesting. Very smooth initially. You can really taste the corn in that one, actually. That's kind of surprising. Definitely has a nice spicy finish. And to answer your question, Aaron, I am drinking Pike Creek. It is 10-year aged whiskey that was finished in rum barrels. Stand it back up. Mild hint of vanilla. Definitely has that really good spicy flavor that you get from drinking different kinds of rums. Honestly, not quite as flavorful as I would have expected, actually. I'm not saying that I'm disappointed in it. It's still pretty good, but I actually expected a little bit more from this one than what it's kind of giving me. Wow, the corn is really strong in this one. Very astringent and dry. Not quite as smooth on the shot as it is on the sip, I have to say. Let's see, I saw a few more on here. Thank you, Tessa. It's very appreciative of all you guys to be here. Local brewery had an Abbey double beer finished in Maker's Mark barrels. I don't know why I keep saying Marker's Mark. Smooth and delicious. Hmm. Come to think of it, I think I have actually had Maker's Mark once before. At a Red Robin, I think, actually. Went there with someone. I honestly can't even remember who, but I went ahead and got a shot of Maker's Mark, and it wasn't bad. I can't remember the exact flavor profile right off the bat, but it was. For the what the heck, for one of my future videos, I might go ahead and taste review Maker's Mark for you guys. Hardy har har, mister. Excuse me a moment. Ah, much better. It was getting a little bit toasty in here. So, I'm sure a lot of you have been wondering where the heck my Spirit Saturdays videos are, and I completely understand. I keep saying that they'll be up and then they're not, so I do apologize for that. It's just the lead time has been kind of lacking, to be honest. So that's why I decided to go ahead and do a late night taste review for you guys tonight. So, for any of you that actually enjoy Canadian whiskey, which I have a feeling that Philip, you might enjoy Canadian whiskey. I just crush a lot. A Ron Cohen go ham. Excuse me? I'm not sure what that means. Yes, let me see. The other Canadian whiskeys that I've tried, I never said that I wasn't going to have any more Spirit Saturdays. I just haven't had the time to get them edited. Okay, I gotcha. And yeah, I'm not saying that they're not coming out. That's not what I'm saying in the slightest. I just haven't had a lot of time to sit down and actually. Are we back? Nah, no problem at all, Philip. It's totally fine. I get what you mean. But when I do videos such as my Spirit Saturdays series, I like to be able to sit down and make sure you guys get a good quality video instead of the usual videos that I have on this channel, which are more just me flipping on the camera going, "Hey, I got something new for you to taste. Let's see it." Yes, get your blood sugar back up. That's not good if you let it drop like that. Yeah, simple point is I just want to be able to make good quality videos for you guys to watch. Because the way they are now, I could just go ahead and upload them straight to YouTube without any kind of editing, but that would kind of defeat the purpose, you know? Because I enjoy making good quality videos. I just... Ugh. Yesterday was a real bear when it came to work. I got there at around 9:45, and I didn't leave until about 9:30. So, that was a long day. Today was a bit of a bear in and of itself, too, which is partially why I decided to go ahead and do a tasting video tonight. And honestly, I don't remember if I actually did a review on this one. Well, there are some Canadian whiskeys that are okay. I mean, Pike Creek isn't bad. It's honestly a little bit lacking in flavor, in my opinion at least. But that's just me. I mean, the way that they described it in the description here, that it would have notes of brown sugar and vanilla for a smooth finish, I expected a bit more. But it's not bad, but it's kind of bland, honestly. I could actually, come to think of it, I could see this much better as a mixer than just drinking straight on its own. I'm drinking it straight because it's so late now. There's no point in getting myself a mixture, but ooh, this would be excellent in a transmission overhaul. Now, for those of you that missed that live stream, I was talking about some of the different cocktails that me and my friend have made over the years, or at least that we know of. And that person is Lord Mechanicus. If you don't remember him, he was in most of my Spirit Saturdays videos on my other channel, which I'm really thinking of uploading a lot of those to this channel just so people get to see them who haven't actually been to my first channel. And he actually had a big poster that was called the Periodic Table of Mixology. And it had the full periodic table on a very big poster, but each element was a different cocktail instead. And it said all the different ingredients, how to mix it, as well as the type of glass to put it in, because the glass does actually make a difference in how the cocktails are enjoyed. Bad experience for me. We were up hunting one year, and I knew my dad wouldn't try it, so being a sneaky little SOB that I was, I snuck a shot of it about twice what this was, so probably a double shot, honestly. And I didn't know what I was doing at the time, so it tasted just like liquid fire. And I had a migraine the rest of the night because I hadn't drank enough water that day with all of our hiking and everything to compensate for that. So this was basically just like dumping poison into my body, and it felt like it. The other one I've had that is actually pretty good, that is from the same maker as Crown Royal, was Colorado Select. I certainly hope you wouldn't let her drink alcohol quite yet. What is the drinking age in Canada? I honestly don't know. What is the legal drinking age in Canada? I know in America, of course, it's 21. Not that really stops a lot of people from drinking before then. Oh, it's only 18? Really? Huh. That is interesting. Well, what's interesting is a couple of friends of mine, their folks, have a philosophy saying that if you're old enough to defend our country, ergo 18 years old, you should be old enough to drink as well. Which I can see that both as a reasonable and unreasonable thing at the same time, because if you have a bunch of military goons running around drunk off their butts, that could be a problem. And that leads me to an interesting factoid. The British military kept rum as a standard issue of rations for their military up until 1976, if I remember the year correctly. But they decided to remove that as a standard ration because they realized that mixing rum with self-guided missiles was a very bad idea. But the interesting fact is that, actually, a lot of different beers that we enjoy today, like specifically India Pale Ales, were actually designed back in the 17th century and beyond, as a means for hydration for sailors as they made their trip across the oceans. Because India Pale Ale was actually good for around 8 months total, which is the approximate time it took for sailors to get from England all the way to India, thus the name India Pale Ale. And when it came to sailors being down in Bermuda and the Bahamas and those surrounding areas, the Caribbean islands, they switched out to rum, actually, simply because you can mix a shot or two of rum with your water to help purify it so that it wasn't stagnant. That's the entire reason that sailors would often bring beer rather than rum, or excuse me, beer rather than water, is because the beer would last much longer than the water would while they were out on the open seas, because after 2 weeks or so, the water would get a nasty green scum on top, and they didn't exactly have high-end water filtration systems like we have nowadays. They didn't even have desalination systems like we have nowadays either, so they would stock up the ships with beer in order to make sure that they would have enough hydration to make it from their destination, from England to America and such. And India Pale Ale was made so they could make it to India from England. But when they actually got down to the Caribbean islands and the much warmer climate, the beer would spoil much faster. So they went to harder spirits such as rum, which was obviously very common in the Caribbean islands due to the amount of molasses that they had in those areas. So they would actually use rum to help cleanse and purify the water that they were drinking. Okay, I missed a few things here. Let's see. Seagram's. I thought Seagram's was an American whiskey. I just reviewed a bottle of Seagram's not too long ago, and it said it was an American whiskey, so I'm a little confused on that one. So here's Let Me Drink in the House. They knew I was going to do it anyway. At least they could monitor me. Fair enough. I mean, if my kids want to drink when they're around 16 to 18, I will go ahead and give them samples of it to see if they even like it to begin with. You know, because that's one of the biggest problems that a lot of countries, specifically America, actually has, is they have so many underage drinkers that don't know what they're doing. And I would much rather have my kids be in a much more controlled environment to be able to test these things out, rather than having them go out with their friends to some abandoned freaking factory or abandoned house and just, doing bong shots and crap like that. Not that I endorse underage drinking in the slightest. I'm simply saying that hypothetically, that's what I would prefer to do. Let's see. I think France needs to have cases and cases of red wine sent to the front lines during World War I and World War II. That wouldn't surprise me. Better that way, less of a taboo that way, and it teaches you to drink responsibly. Very true. Beer dehydrates you, though. My dad was sampling scotch to me at 12. No wonder you're such a whiskey fan. Or, excuse me, spirits fan. What's interesting, though, is that for a fair amount of human history, especially here in the colonies, beer was one of the few ways that you could actually get clean fluids into your body to help you hydrate and stay hydrated for whatever it was that you needed to do. Matter of fact, there's another channel that I'm subscribed to called Townsend's, which was originally James Townsend and Son. Are we back? Can you hear me now? Oh, dear. Okay, sorry about that. I just got a call, actually. Let's see. Mashed potato roasted for that. You're back. You are good. I'm amazed that someone actually recognizes that song. Back to the Future Darth Vader scene. Excuse me? I've seen all three Back to the Future movies, and I don't recall any kind of a any kind of a Darth Vader scene. It's in the first one. I'm gonna have to watch the first one again. I've got the entire trilogy here. I borrowed it from my friend Monkey. And personally, I like the third one the best. That's just me, though. I prefer the third one. It's been a little bit since I've seen the first two, so I'm going to have to rewatch those to see which scene you're talking about. But anyway. Yes, Aaron. His nickname is Monkey. And Lorraine back to the dance, so she scares his butt off. Huh. I'm definitely going to have to rewatch the first one. And to answer your question, Aaron, on my first channel, I have a friend. His real name is David, but he's professionally known as Monkey. That's a nickname he's had since literally 5th grade. And he's the one who initially loaned me the movies of Back to the Future. As well as, no, I think we bought that one, but I was planning on giving it to him if he didn't have it already. We also have the entire Rambo series, which he's actually a big fan of. And if you watch on my first channel, he was in a couple of my videos already. He was in the Fire plus CO2 equals boom video. Old classic. That's from way back in the past. He was in the Rain Dance video from Odd Goings On, a series which unfortunately never really took root. And he was also in an episode of Spirit Saturdays, where we tasted Gosling's Black Bermuda rum. Only we didn't taste the 151 that this one is. We tasted the regular proof, which, off the top of my head, I believe it's either 35% or 40%. I think that rum is typically of a lesser percentile than regular whiskey. Hello, Russ, aka Yasmin. Nice to see you here. If you're wondering what we're doing tonight, I am doing a brief review of Pike Creek, which is a 10-year-old age whiskey, finished in rum barrels. Which, honestly, it's a little bit plain. And, jumping back to that, since I keep getting sidetracked every time I go to talk about it, whiskey is my thing when I go hard, bro. There's a drink out there that you need to try. It's called Ghost. And it is actually a vodka that is infused with ghost pepper extract. I think it actually has a ghost pepper dropped directly into the bottle. Which I have not tried that one yet because I'm not nearly as much of a chili head as my pal Lord Mechanicus. But it is something I would be willing to taste anyway. But since I know you're quite a bit of a chili head, that's one I would highly recommend to you. But the other Canadian whiskey I've tried besides this one is Colorado Select, which is made by the exact same company that does Crown Royal. And it does taste similar to Crown Royal, but it actually tastes better in my opinion. And the amusing part is it's a Canadian distillery that actually made a whiskey specifically for Colorado, which I personally think that's awesome. I mean, we have over 50 distilleries here in Colorado, as I showed in one of my previous live streams with the Spirits of the West booklet, if I remember correctly. And, we have plenty here, but it's pretty cool that a different distillery would make one specifically for the state that you're in. Because, let's be perfectly honest here, there's a lot of other states out there that are much more renowned for their spirits than Colorado is. which I still find is amusing because of how many distilleries that Colorado actually has. And I actually want to try those Samyang spicy ramens. Those actually look pretty good. Right back. Brofist. Hello, everyday Canadian. Excuse me a minute. Okay. Okay. Excuse me a minute. I'm going to purposely make this a little bit. Dang it, right at that. Potential live streams tomorrow of me eating a pack of... Pack or two. I've actually found a really good combination for ramen noodles recently. It was roast chicken and chili flavored. That is actually a very tasty combination. Matter of fact, this is a little bit sidetracked, but for lunch today, I actually had a pack of roasted chicken ramen mixed with a pack of chili ramen and grilled deer steak today that was seasoned with sirloin steak seasoning directly from Texas Roadhouse. And here's the thing I found interesting about those particular steaks that I made. Those are from a deer that we wound up getting back in January. That is actually a very sad story. I'm not going to share it right here and now. But we have a fair amount of meat left over from a particular deer. And I took some steaks out the other day when I made my pho recipe. If you all remember, I had our live stream recently that was labeled as Cooking with Bowmaster, which is where I made 30-minute pho, which turned out wonderful, by the way. I gave the rest of the broth to Lord Mechanicus after I had a bowl myself so he could try it. And that was actually made from deer bone broth, made from the exact same deer I'm talking about. But today, I cooked up the steaks, and they actually had a sweet flavor to them. And I know that each meat varies depending on where it was raised and what it ate on, which out here in this particular area was probably corn and wheat fields. So it's darn good meat, extremely tender. But it had a sweet flavoring to it that was much more akin to what bison meat tastes like. So I was kind of surprised with that, honestly. Because I know that bison meat is notorious for being sweet comparatively to other meats. So it was actually kind of surprising to have deer meat that was sweet like that. Let's see, I missed a few lines here. If I can't be at work, I'll be on my day off. Sounds like it can work, no worries. Insert Homer Simpson gif. Hello, Tessa. Welcome back. Like Philippa said, I hope you feel better. Fair enough. Pho is actually a very good dish to have in wintertime because it's so warming, and depending on what items you have in it, can be very filling. Me, myself, it was a deer pho. The bone broth was made from deer bones that I had cooked for well over 9 hours, nearly 10 hours, and then cooked into the pho broth, and then I threw deer meat, the exact same deer I was talking about, that was cut up into fine little stew cubes, and put that into the pho as well. Along with some squeezed lime, some mung beans... I can't talk. Mung bean sprouts. Along with some hoisin sauce and sriracha, though I added a little too much of the chili sauce, so... Whew, I was sweating by the time I was done with that one. Let's ensemble know I'm interested in picking each other's brains. That sounds pretty fun to me. Nationality signature soups. The kind of soups that everyone's mom used to make. There will be more streams. Good. I look forward to seeing streams in the future from you, Tessa. And Zomblue, of course. I have not been able to visit any of those live streams recently. I will go ahead and click the bell icon once I'm done with this to be able to get some notifications from those. Though I will say in advance, forgive me if I don't show up, simply because when I'm on the road delivering and also in the store with pizzas and such, it's not going to be quite as easy for me to actually tune in to the live streams as it normally would be, but I will be there if I can. So there you go. There's that. Pho for the Vietnamese, matzo ball, chicken soup for Jewish people, etc. I've heard that being diabetic really sucks. So yes, make sure you always keep that in check. I mean, if anything, this is probably a really bad reference, but be like Paul Blart. Just keep a pocket full of Skittles or something on you so you can bump up your sugar if need be. About our Atlatl conversation, I remember that. Speaking thus, I actually have my Atlatl equipment right here next to me. I'm sure you remember this one. This is a dart that my... Oops, I just stabbed the wall. This is a dart that my daughter, Samantha, actually helped me finish. Now, I did the straightening and put the tip on, of course, but she actually helped me with the gluing of the fletching here. Now, the kit that I ordered came with the shaft, the tip, the fletching, and also the here, which, I don't know if you can see that with the light, is artificial sinew. I had to miss a lot of streams because of work, too, and it sucks. Fair enough. I mean, you can always check in post with me because I always make sure that my live streams are posted afterwards. Yes, Aaron, I know you have a very bad mind just like me. I can see you going completely bonkers if I ever did a video regarding muzzleloader equipment. The names alone for muzzleloader equipment are nothing but fuel for your perverted fire, so to speak. And I'm saying this all in good fun. I don't mean any offense by it because I have an extremely perverted mind as well. I mean, to quote a meme I saw on Facebook, if you leave the perversion door open even the tiniest bit, I will burst through it like the Kool-Aid Man. Which is very true for me. Okay, I will be sure to click the notification button on Zomblue stream. But seriously, if none of you are familiar with muzzleloader equipment, the names alone of the things that go with it are incredible. For example, I'm sure most of you that are familiar with muzzleloader equipment, there is the Ramrod. You know what? I'll be right back. I'm back. That's all we need is another Aaron. I can be a dirty girl. I censor myself because I don't want to offend other people I love and respect. Believe me, I completely understand that, and that's why I always censor myself when on YouTube. When I am not on YouTube, on the other hand, holy crap. You could wash my mouth out with Ajax and it wouldn't make a difference. I am a very perverted person in my sense of humor. I can make anything sound sexual, much like Aaron there. But back to the reason I left for a moment. Say hello to my .58 caliber muzzleloader, which I believe is either a Zouave or a reproduction of a Springfield. You can see the patch box right there. Now this gun is extremely accurate, very deadly, though I have not been able to test this out hunting yet. Ironically enough, my other muzzleloader is a 58 caliber as well, but it is a round ball shooter rather than a muzzleloader. And let's go ahead and run through some of the items on a standard muzzleloader. You have the ramrod. For these ones in particular, you have the nipple, which is this piece right here that you put the cap on. You then have the nipple wrench to take these off, as well as the nipple pick to clean them out. On a flintlock, this particular item here, which is known as the hammer on this type, is known as the cock. And that is actually where the term going off half-cocked came from. Do you have to manually load that like an 1800 style? Yes, sir. That's exactly what this is based on. This is based on a Civil War rifle, actually. Rifled musket. But yes, that is actually where the term going off half-cocked originally came from, because with flintlock muzzleloaders, come on, originally, this is where the frizzen and the flash pan would be. And what happens is, in order to load a flintlock properly, you have to pull this back to half-cock, open the frizzen, and put in the powder into the flash pan and then close it. And you can't actually have this all the way down on a flintlock when it's loaded, because that then opens the frizzen. So you'd have to carry it around essentially at half-cock. And if you accidentally bumped it too hard, it would then clash against the frizzen, which would cause the spark, causing the powder to go off here and go into the breech to then fire off the round. That is actually where the term going off half-cocked originally came from. This one, on the other hand, since it is a percussion cap and uses a musket cap over the very large nipple here, you don't have to keep it at half-cock. You can actually have it all the way down on the nipple while you're moving around. And the nice part is that when you pull the trigger down here, you can bring the hammer back to full cock without any kind of clicks whatsoever. Because if you listen, I don't know if the camera can pick this up, hear those clicks? That is the sear engaging in the inner mechanism of the gun itself. But if you have the trigger down, then you can pull it back to half or full cock without it making any kind of noise, which makes it very convenient for hunting. You just have to make sure that you don't slip on the hammer when you're pulling it back, or else it'll slam forward and the shot will go off. And then you have a long amount of time to reload this thing in between there. Oh yes, and another tool I think you might find interesting for extracting patches is this. A worm. This you attach to the end of the ramrod and shove down the barrel and then twist it into the patch in order to pull it out if it gets stuck. And shoot! My cleaning jack just fell out. And I know you guys are all going completely nuts with the different kinds of phrases that are used for muzzleloading equipment, which is precisely why I brought this out to begin with. But if you look here in the patch case, hopefully I can do this without dropping everything, normally this is where the extra greased patches go. Because remember, when you put a patch on the tip or end of the muzzleloader, it needs to be properly lubricated so it can go down the shaft properly when you apply the ramrod to it. Though first, you're going to want to use a short start and possibly a hammer to get that ball or conical started down the shaft.
And yes, I am purposely using that terminology right now. See, I can have fun too. But this particular gun is extremely accurate and it's extremely devastating. One time when I shot this, the target we were aiming at was on a 4x4 old, I believe it was oak plank. And when I actually shot, I had a slight misfire, which basically means the cap went off, but it didn't get to the powder quite as fast as it could have been. And there was a delayed fire in the mechanism. And I actually had the gun slightly down when I shot, but it was still at the post when I fired. And when we got up there, the entire back end of the post had been blown out by the conical that this sucker uses. I wish they taught us this in sex ed. Colonial Week in Thiel Elementary School in Ewing, New Jersey, they shot off muzzleloaders. That sounds awesome. We didn't even get to do archery in my school because the dang gym coach took literally 3 weeks on freaking... No, it was 4 weeks on square dancing and 5 weeks on badminton. We didn't even get into the archery. And that pissed me off because I was ready to show up those newbies there in school. But the nice part about this one is, since it is an old military reproduction, I can actually buy a bayonet and essentially turn this into a pike or spear. Badminton is fun, I'm not going to lie. But 4 to 5 weeks on square dancing? Our town's not that redneck! One of these days, I might go ahead and bring my camera to the shooting range just to show you guys how much fun it is to be able to shoot these things. I mean, personally, one of my all-time favorite guns to shoot is my old cap and ball revolver that I got down at the Rendezvous for $185. We had to do dancing 2 in gym. I was so mad. Dodgeball. I miss dodgeball. That was so much fun. We'd usually go up into a spare room they had up in the upper level of the gym there, which didn't have a very tall ceiling. It was about the same as this room here, but it was a concrete floor, and we would chuck those balls at each other for the entire gymnasium session. Or PE session, excuse me. Excuse me another moment. Here it is. Since we're showing old Civil War weapons, how do you like this, baby? This is the one that I got at the Rendezvous for $185 for a full kit. Heck yeah, that'd be awesome if you guys moved to Colorado. I don't see it happening anytime soon, but that would be awesome. This one is actually based on an old Confederate Remington model. You can tell that simply because the barrel is round, and the fact that the cylinder is actually ejectable. Whereas with the Colt, it wasn't as easy to remove the cylinder as it was for the Remingtons. I'm going to call my crew, you guys. Call crew, we can rendezvous at the bar around 2. Was that a wrap? Now, while I personally don't hate rapping in general, just because it does take a fair amount of skill to rap properly and actually come up with decent lyrics for it, when it comes to modern rap, though, I personally consider that to be retards attempting poetry. Because most of that stuff just, for one, doesn't make any freaking sense. And what of it you can understand is just flat out disgusting. But yes, this one is a heck of a lot of fun. And the thing I love most about old cap and ball shooters like this is they literally belch fire when you shoot them. I'm not sure if I got to see that one. We were kind of busy tonight, so I wasn't able to tune in as much to your live stream as I would have wanted. But I did get to see part of it. I think I missed that wrap, unfortunately, though. Yeah, these are a lot of fun to spin around, though. Yes, that was a fun episode of Show and Tell. I'm not sure what you're getting at there. The handgun? Yes. This is a 6-shot, 44 caliber cap and ball revolver, which essentially just means that you have to load each round into the cylinder one at a time. And that's why this little divot is right here in the gun. If you can see that little indentation right there, you actually pour the powder in there, put the ball on top, and then rotate this around, and then this lever here forces the round down into the cylinder itself to seat it down in place. Then once you have all 6 cylinders loaded, you then put a little bit of lubrication on the top, and that can be anywhere from legitimate gun manufacturer's lubricant to simple Crisco. And then you put a cap on each one of the nipples here on the back. I don't know if I can get a good view of this on here. Okay, see that little square right there? That's where the nipples are actually located that you have to put the caps on. Thus, why it's called a cap and ball revolver. And I have shot this one several times, and it is so much fun. Big Shack. I wouldn't think so, considering this cylinder has to revolve around properly in order for the action to cycle, as well as to make sure you get all 6 shots off. So tassels on the end of this would be a very bad thing to have. I can't text my phone. Okay. And unfortunately, the realm of muzzleloader and even archery is very prone to a lot of sexual jokes, for sure. Well, you're not wrong, Philip. It actually is getting pretty late, so thank you all so much for watching. I'm going to go ahead and finish this round for all of you. Well, you have an amazing day working tomorrow, Philip. If you guys live stream tomorrow, I will be sure to tune in. And since I'm sure pretty much everyone here, including myself, needs to get to bed early, good night. Thank you all so much for watching. As always, drive safe, stay safe, never stop learning. Shout out to you, Aaron. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Stay tuned for more Spirit Saturdays, and we'll see you next time. Big hugs to S&M as well. Catch you later, guys.